Welcome back, everybody. This is Cliff again with another unit in our combat boot camp series, and today I want to talk about grenades. I don't use grenades as much as I would like, I think. They end up not being quite as effective as one would hope. I kind of feel the same way about artillery in this game, but yet they're useful weapons, especially when the Germans make a mosh pit, as they are apt to do at the beginning of some scenarios. So grenades are good for some things. So let's run through the kinds of grenades that are in this game. There's actually 3 different kinds of grenades. Let me see if I can get up the control panel. They're here. We've got standard hand grenades, which is the Mark II fragmentation grenade for the Americans, and the Stellhandgranat, I don't speak German, for the Germans. That is the majority of the grenades you're going to see in a game. But there are tactical purposes for the other 2. We have the M18 hexachloroethane smoke grenade, the HC smoke for the Americans, which makes that nasty zinc chloride gas. That's what makes the smoke part. You burn hexachloroethane and you generate zinc chloride, which when it contacts water turns into hydrochloric acid, and that's gotta burn. And then we've got the M7 grenade launcher, which is basically going to throw a fragmentation grenade out to distance. The soldier takes their Garand and they put a blank in it and propels the grenade out at range. You see there is a range on this one out to as far as 25 hexes here. So this is a ranged weapon, whereas the others are not so much. You're talking 30 meters, maybe 35 for a decent sized soldier. Technically, I think that the Germans with this wooden handle could actually pitch theirs out past 40 meters pretty accurately, but for simplicity with gameplay, this isn't meant to be a realistic simulation of warfare. Everything's just been rounded off to 3 hexes, about 30 meters. So, let's talk about how to use these things. Let's talk about the fragmentation first, then we'll talk about smoke, and then we'll talk about the M7 grenade launcher. That's the plan. Alright, so let me get rid of this stuff. Nope. Yep. Alright. From the American point of view, using a grenade is just another order. So here we are, we're fighting on... This is the ridge map. Yep, the ridge map. We got some soldiers down here. In order to use a grenade, obviously they have to have a grenade with a grenade skill. So Craig's got a 4, and Douglas has got a 4. They both have grenade skills. They could both be given a grenade order. Not all soldiers have grenades. Like this German officer over here only has a pistol. He can't throw a grenade. Okay, so the conditions for throwing a grenade is, well, first you have to have a spotted enemy character, an opposing character, within 4 hexes of you. You do not have to have line of sight, but they do have to be spotted. I've, for simplicity, made everybody spotted in this particular demonstration. So everybody's spotted, that's good. They have to be within 4 hexes, and then you have to be given a grenade order. So let's say that Craig here wants to throw a grenade up here at this Soldat Abbas. He's within 4. He is spotted. All we have to do is give him a grenade order. And a grenade order, I think, is Control 5. Control 5. If you look at the grenade order itself, it has numbers on it. 0, a blue 1, a red 1, and then another blue 1. When we put the grenade order on, While we're assigning orders, we place the target marker. Not everybody does it this way on their playthroughs, but it doesn't really matter. But you're supposed to technically, by the rules, when you give the order, place the target marker on your target. Sometimes I'll use a label. If I get a lot of grenades on the board, I might put a label so that these two are labeled together. So I could change the label on that and just say A. And I can go down here and change the label and say A. If you get a lot of grenades, then you can keep them together. You don't get confused who's got what where. On your first impulse, now that he's got the grenade order, he now gets activated in his impulse. The very first thing he does is he puts a live grenade on him. He's pulled the pin and he's holding that hand grenade in his hand. If he gets shot at and has to duck back for any reason whatsoever, so if he's wounded and he's got to duck back, obviously, or if he fails a morale check and has to duck back, he's going to drop that grenade at his feet. And that's not a good thing. So that's the first impulse. You place the grenade on the guy. It's live now from this point on. Okay, impulse 2 comes up. You see that there's a blue 1. That means that movement of some sort is optional for the American. The American can only pitch that grenade 3 hexes ultimately, and right now he's 4 away, so he needs to get closer. He could draw that grenade back to him, but then he's going to come off his target. In order to draw that back to him, he'd have to pass a TQ, so he'd have to roll a 4 or less to have the ability to draw that target back. Let's say that Soldat Abbas, on his first impulse, had an evade, and he moved to here. The target wouldn't move with him. The target's still back there. Now, we want to draw our target back to us. So we try to pass a TQ. If we pass it, we can move that 1 space. We can draw it back. If we fail, we must move toward the grenade because we must end up 3 hexes away from that grenade. So let's just say for this instance, things worked out for us and we were able to draw it back. Now we're 3 away. In the third impulse, the red one, means that we apply the grenade. So the grenade's going to be tossed. And the grenade's going to go up here. When we toss it, we have to check for accuracy of throwing. It's going to be a D10. A 9 means that the grenade toss is going to scatter 1 hex, depending on the direction of the wind marker, the compass. Direction of the compass. If we do not have line of sight at the time, we add 3 to our roll. 9 or more is going to scatter. So in this case, I have line of sight. I roll my D10, and I get a 9, and it's going to scatter. So let's say 1 is facing up. I scatter 1. It's at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It scatters over here. Anything else, and it wouldn't have scattered. There's nobody there for now, so we don't have to worry about grenade close or grenade far. So that's how scatter works. Let's say it didn't scatter for the sake of argument here, to make my life easier. Let's say it's here and it did not scatter. Now I need to see if we got the grenade close to our target guy or not. And for that, we have to look at the weapon skill here, which is a 4. And we've got our target here, who is, let's say, evading in trees. So evading in trees, let's get this up. Order terrain. Evading Come on, Cliff, you're blind today. Evading in trees is -2. Right here. 4 minus 2 is a 2. If I roll a 2, 1, or a 0, I'll place a grenade close. We got close to our target. If it is 3 or greater, it'll be a grenade far. Well, let's roll it for fun. It's a 6, so it's a grenade far, which is pretty typical. So I place a grenade far right here. This grenade now goes away. The target goes away, and we're left with this grenade far right here. So we either place a grenade close or a grenade far. If there are multiple soldiers in that hex, each one we attack with our grenade skill. So if there have been 3 soldiers there, we'd attack each one. We try to roll a 2 or less, and they each get an independent grenade close or a grenade far, depending on the result of that roll. So each has their own fate because they're spread out in that 10-meter hex. The grenade could be closer to some, further from others. The last impulse. We've got another, come on, show me, blue 1. We have the option to move again, so we could draw back. In this case, I probably would choose just a duck back after we pitch that thing, because we're already in good cover. There's no need to move. Sometimes you'll want to move. Then, at the end of the turn, we resolve the attacks. So let's pull up this again. Come on. There. Our fragmentation grenade has these circles. This is 3 shots for a 4. That's for grenade close. 1 shot for a 2 is a grenade far. So the bottom, the denominator of these fraction-looking things is for grenade far. The numerator, the top, is for grenade close. So 1 roll for 2 is our attack, and we take into account the terrain and order. So he's still in evade and cover, which is a -2, so he needs 1 roll for a 0. And of course, he won't get it. And that means the grenade had no effect. The other thing that happens, whether you're wounded or not, any soldier within the hex or in an adjacent hex, when a grenade goes off, and the grenade goes off after the turn is done. So I should have pointed that out at the end after we've done Impulse 4 and we're wrapping up the turn. That's when the grenades go off. So here we are. Anybody at that point that's in the same hex, whether they were wounded or not, or in an adjacent hex, must take an immediate morale check. And that will determine whether they're ducked back at the beginning of the next turn or not. So he has to pass a morale check for a 5. And he does. So that grenade had absolutely no effect, and I can remove it. And then the last thing is it generates 1 smoke. So I'd place a smoke in that hex. We're going to talk about smoke in a future episode, so I'm not going to worry about smoke right now, but a smoke would be placed in that hex as the ending. That's a fragmentation grenade from the point of view of the Americans. The Germans, with their Stellhandgranat, they have a similar story with a few tweaks. First of all, they don't just willy-nilly pick a grenade. They have to actually draw an order card that has a G. So let's say this German is having his orders, and he gets, that one doesn't have it. Okay, let's say he's in cover and he's normal. He has a G here. He's either aim, fire, or G, grenade. Cool. So he's normal. He's getting his order. I'm going to take my order off now. It bothers me. Okay. He's getting his order. he's got to roll a 5 or less to get that grenade. He rolls an 8. He doesn't get the grenade, he gets an aim fire. He rolls a 1, he gets a grenade. He gets his grenade. Control 5. And he picks his target. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. When there's more than one target, they have to be spotted. They have to be within 4, but they don't have to be in line of sight. I could have been back here. Let's say I'm back here. He could still throw me at me, and let's say this guy's farther away, so it's not a factor. Only one possible target within 4. He's going to put his target marker there. Come on. Stop it. Thank you. So painful. All right. Impulse 1. He's going to put his live grenade on. Impulse 2. He must move closer to his grenade if necessary. If he's in cover and he's already within 3 or less, he's not going to move. But in this case, he's going to have to move closer. He'll have to leave that cover and move closer to me in order to be able to throw that grenade, which is going to make him vulnerable to my opportunity fire. But let's be nice to him. Let's say he's here and I'm here. Now he doesn't have to move. So impulse 1, he stays put. When impulse 1, he got his live grenade. Impulse 2, he stays put. Impulse 3, he throws his grenade. Grenade comes down here. Once again, we have to roll for scatter. Less than 9, does not scatter, lands here. We use his grenade skill like before. 4, let's say I'm aim fire, -2 is a 2. And he gets a grenade far, just like I got a grenade far. And we resolve this exactly the same way. In impulse 4, the move, he can move 1 if he needs to. So if he had thrown from someplace like here, come on, here, there. On impulse 4, he would draw back to cover if he could. I believe that the rules say he must move in direction 2 or 3 to cover if he can. So in impulse 4, if he's not in cover, he'll move in either direction 2 or 3 to, well, it's not optional at this point. The movement is required. If he's not in cover, he will move back in direction either 2 or 3 to the best cover between those 2 hexes. If they're the same, roll a die. Pick randomly. Grenades are resolved exactly the same way. He's got 3 shots for 3 or 1 shot for 2 for grenade close or grenade far respectively, and they both put a smoke 1 out. Once again, anybody in the same hex or an adjacent hex must also pass a morale check, or if you fail, begin the next turn as duck back, which is annoying. It is one way to try to quiet down a nasty hex. Try to get him to duck back, because grenades usually don't hurt that many people. They can, but they don't usually. Don't count on it. So that is the fragmentation grenades. Okay, let's talk smoke grenades. The smoke grenades, just the Americans, have the ability to throw an M18 HC smoke grenade. The process is similar, but a little bit different. Once again, we have to be within 4 hexes. Well, actually, this one we don't. This one, with an M18 HC smoke grenade, you don't actually have to be within 4 hexes. You can throw it anywhere you darn well please. But the thing is, you got to pass a TQ check in order to get the ability to throw that smoke grenade. So, let's say Douglas here wants to pitch a smoke grenade to cover an advance. He's got to roll a 4 or less. 9, nope. 3, yay, he gets to. he gets to throw a smoke grenade. So I put a smoke grenade marker on him, a smoke grenade order, which I think is Control 6. Come on. Maybe not. What's my shortcut? I don't use it very often. Fire orders. Smoke grenade 7. Okay, gets a smoke grenade. Impulse 1. We put our live grenade marker on us. If he gets shot from this point on, he's going to drop that smoke grenade at his feet. It's not going to hurt him, but the smoke's going to generate in his hex. Impulse 2. He can move a hex, or he can... You don't actually put a target out, so he can move a hex if he wants. Impulse 3 is when you place that grenade, you can place it anywhere you want within 3 hexes. So let's say in Impulse 2, I moved up there, Impulse 3, I pitch it 3 hexes, 1, 2, 3, here into the opening. Impulse 4, I can move another hex. Come on, there. This is going to go off after the end of the turn, just like any grenade goes off, and it's going to generate a smoke screen. We'll talk about smoke later. So the main difference here is you don't have to have an enemy soldier, but you do have to pass a TQ. And you can pitch that grenade where you want to create a smoke screen. I'm going to return this, return that. And the last one, our ranged M7 grenade launcher, American only. You can see this has a range. You can't shoot less than 4. You must shoot less than 25. So somewhere between 5 and 25 hexes away. So this is a ranged weapon, throwing out basically the same grenade as a regular Mark II. Same damage. 3 for 4 or 1 for 2. And generates a single smoke. Alright, so let's say we have these guys coming in from the west here, and we got a grenade launcher up here. Holland here has a regular grenade, a Mark II, for a 3, and he's got a grenade launcher for a 4. We're going to use that grenade launcher from the top of this hill. In this case, we need to have a known spotted enemy unit in LOS. That's different. And we must pass a TQ in order to get this order. So I'd have to roll a 3, 4 or less. Let's say I roll a 3. If I don't pass, if I roll a 7, I have to get a different order. It's not that you lose your orders altogether. You just can't get the grenade launcher. So I roll a 3, I get my grenade launcher. So I put my grenade launcher on there. That is Control 6. So smoke is 7, grenade launcher is 6, regular is Control 5. Okay, this has a, this is in the way now. 0010 for Impulse 1 and 2. They do nothing. They can spot. That's it. If he's forced to duck back, nothing happens. You just lose your order. There is no armed grenade here. It's stuck on the end of his rifle. It's not active until it's launched. So you don't have to worry about it landing at your feet. His range is 14. And I have LOS because I'm up on a level 2 hill. Looking down at the sky in a level 1, this elevation topological line is not going to have any impact. It's going to be a blind hex, but I'm well past that. So range of 14. If I look at my chart, 14 is in the +1. So on Impulse 3, I fire that grenade. Pooh. And we are going to check to see how well it went. Alright, I'm back. I had to step away for a sec. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, we just firing this rifle grenade on down range. We don't really need a target marker. That's... well, we'll bring it on over here. We got to roll for scatter. Once again, a 9 scatters. If he was out of LOS on 1 and 2, you can move that rifle target marker. So he's targeting here. You do have to target with this. You don't have to target with smoke. So in Impulse 1, when you... Cliff, speak English. When I got the rifle grenade order, I placed my target marker, like usual. On Impulse 1 and 2, I cannot move. I can spot, and I can move my target order if I wish, and if I pass a TQ. So if my soldier target is moving, I can try to move my target along with him by passing a TQ. Okay, let's say we do 0, 1, 2, 3. We're up to Impulse 3. We're ready to fire. There's a +1 for range on here. First I have to roll for scatter. So I see if I scatter off of my desired target. 6, I do not scatter. I would have scattered with a 9. If I would have moved this target marker out of my LOS, I'd add 3 to that, and that would have scattered. But I have LOS, so it does not scatter. Then I have to decide if it's grenade near or grenade far, like before. I have a weapon skill of 4, but I get a +1 for range, so now it's a 5 or less. And I roll a 1, and I get a grenade near. So I can place my grenade there, and I can place a grenade near. And I can clean up by taking out the other stuff I don't need. I just delete that. I just have a grenade near on him. And that grenade near goes off immediately in Impulse 3. That's different than the other 2 grenades. The fragmentation grenades, the Mark II or the Stellhandgranat, they go off at the end of the turn, as does the smoke grenade, that WC, HC, hexachloroethane, or HCE, Mark 18s. They made colored Mark 18s too, but this isn't Fields of Fire. We don't play with colored smoke. Anyway, this would give me 3 shots for 4 against him. And there's a chance I could get a hit on him, actually. 6, 2, 0. I get 2 hits on him. And he'd have to pass a morale check afterwards as well, because you always have to pass a morale check for him and anybody in an adjacent hex. That's the basics. Each one has its own peculiarities. The fragmentation, you have to be within 4. You have to move to within 3. It's resolved at the end of the turn. You don't have to be an LOS, but you do have to be spotted. The smoke, you don't have to be anywhere around an enemy soldier. You just decide to throw it, but you got to pass a TQ to get it. The order, that is. You throw it out 3 hexes anywhere you want, and it goes off at the end of the turn. With a rifle grenade, you also have to pass a TQ, but this is a very much ranged weapon. You have to throw it further, you have to fire it further than you can throw a grenade. 5 to 25 hexes. Great ranged weapon. And it resolves immediately upon impact in Impulse 3. In Impulse 4 here, after he's fired, he's got, come on, there we go, a black 0. See, he's not doing anything afterwards. You might as well just duck back. That's the basics grenades. So they're a little complicated to get your head around at first, but once you do it a few times, they're not so bad. I had to pull the rules out quite a bit when I was learning it. Now, not so much. There are good reasons to use smoke grenades, and there are good reasons to use rifle grenades. Not many people seem to use them as I watch playthroughs, but they can come in handy. Regular hand grenades, I pretty much only use if I got a big cluster of enemy soldiers that I just want to quiet down. I hope that helps somewhat. It's kind of a complicated one. I'm going to stop here for the day, and we'll move on to off-board artillery next, another way to generate more smoke on the board, which is a nuisance. But that's another story for another day. I'll see you then.